Welcome back, welcome back. I'm Cheryl from Sheryl Schmidt Artistry, and I'm back playing in my Strathmore Mixed Media art journal book. It is 140 pound vellum finished paper, mixed media paper, and I am doing the July prompt, the first July prompt for the Mixed Media Emporium Facebook groups challenge, and this week's challenge is black and white. I will link the Facebook group down below. I will also link Kylie Koo and Nina Rabina, their videos down below for you to check out what they did for this challenge. And if you're new here, thanks for stopping by and spending some time with me today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button down below, as well as the little bell icon, and that way you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. If you're returning, welcome. Thanks for coming back to spend some more time with me today. So let's get into today's project. So today's project, like I said, is the first challenge from the Mixed Media Emporium Facebook group, and July's first challenge was black and white. And that was kind of the gist of the challenge, is creating something only in black and white. So I went on my computer and I created this fun little guy. The butterfly wings is from Graphics Fairy. I will leave a link to them. I have a premium membership. It's a great value for your money. You get a new release every Monday morning. The cockatoo bird that I have is from Creative Fabrica. I will leave a link to them down below as well. So that is the image I'm going to be working with. And the quote that I am going to do today is, "Until you spread your wings, you have no idea how far you will fly." So the technique I'd like to do today, I think, is it's called Spotlight. And what I have in my studio is I have circles cut out, ranging in size from 3 inches to 11 inches, and that way I can play around when I'm trying to decide how big of a circle I want on a project. And for today's project, I decided on the 6-inch circle. Put it in backwards. But it's really nice to have this. So this is the size circle that I want to use for my bird. I think it will work quite well on this page. It'll leave me lots of negative space to play around with. But it's really nice to have all those different circles, so you can see how a circle would fit on a page, if it would be too big, too small. And I've also done that with squares. I haven't done it with rectangles, just because I don't do I do work in rectangle size, but for some reason it's easier for me to visualize a rectangle than it is sometimes a square or a circle. So that's what I've done. Like I said, I settled on the 6-inch size, so I cut that out of a piece of paper. I didn't have any sticky, temporary sticky paper, so I just cut that out of regular computer paper. And then I have a sheet of just plain cardstock here. I want texture in the background, so I'm going to use that ruler that I created in last week's video. I'll leave a link to that down below, the deckle-edged ruler. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and just tear some pieces off in different sizes. Like I said, I want that texture of those ripped edges in here. And each side of the ruler has a different decal to it. There we go. And I like that the white of this cardstock is a little bit of a different color than the the paper in the book. And one more tear. All right, so that's all ripped and torn and ready to go. So let's get those glued down. I'm using my Beacon 3-in-1. And of course it's getting low. I should have checked that before I started taping today. Sorry about that. So, and they are just going to get randomly glued down. There's no rhyme or reason as to why or how or where they're getting placed. My lights are a little dark again today here. I'm sorry. Is that any better? All right. Hope everybody had a good weekend. It was really hot here most of last week. It was in the mid to high 30s. I think one day we even hit 41 degrees, which is not weather I particularly enjoy. I would much rather have -40 to +40. It's easier to put a sweater on and stay indoors than it is to try and cool down. I felt very sorry for those that didn't have air conditioners. I don't know how they managed. We have just a small air conditioner, a portable one that kind of just is good for, you know, the living room. It'll keep the living room bearable. Needless to say, we didn't go very far from home, didn't venture outside a whole lot. This week it's been a little bit nicer. Temperatures more in the low to mid 20s. It gets warm again for the weekend, up around 30, so 30 is tolerable. So I think we'll probably try and head off to the lake one day this weekend and just be beach bums. All right. So one of the things I always find with a challenge like this, where it's monochromatic themed, whether it's, you know, black and white or blues, or, you know, it doesn't really matter what color scheme, but the monochromatic color schemes are always a little bit of a challenge for me. My brain doesn't always want to work in that realm. And it's not, I mean, really, it's not, or it shouldn't be a confining color scheme. I just find it that way. That's just me. How do you like working in monochromatic color schemes? Is that something you really enjoy? Is it something that is a bit of a challenge for you as well? As you can see, there was no rhyme or reason to how I laid those down there. I just stuck them wherever they fit. I do want to give the glue a minute or two to set up before I start doing my next step. There we go, that looks pretty good. There we go. All right, so now we are going to temporarily adhere this in place, and I want it kind of down low and off to the side. And I didn't bring my adhesive with me, so let's just put a little bit more Let's put a little bit of glue on here. This piece won't be on here long, so I don't think that should cause too much issues. All right, so now we're gonna start on the spotlight technique. I brought in my Distress archival inks. This is a mixed pack, so it's got hickory smoke, vintage photo, ground espresso, and black soot. I'm just gonna be using the hickory smoke and the black soot today. And I've got my blending brushes. One of the things I like to do is, on my blending brushes, is paint just the tops. So this one I've got painted silver, but I know silver is gray. I just didn't have any gray nail polish in the house. This one I've got painted blue. And I buy these brushes at the dollar store. They're really inexpensive, which is awesome. And it allows me to have one for kind of every color family. All right, so I'm going to start in with this hickory smoke here. Load that up. And then I'm going to just start working that color onto my book. Oops, went into the wrong color there. That's okay. I like these brushes over the foam, as I find they don't typically leave harsh edges. They're a little bit softer to work with. And then I'm going to pick up some black. And we're going to work that black in here right alongside it. Alright, and back over into the hickory smoke. Alright, see how I'm blending those colors in? I want a soft blend between those two. I'm using archival ink because it's waterproof. Once it's dry, it's not going to react with water, which is really nice with some of the other techniques I want to do on here later. Oh, did I? I did. Oh well. So the paper shifted just ever so slightly and I got a little bit of color under there, but it's not the end of the world. All I'm going to do is come in a little bit extra right along that edge and just darken that up. And that'll be just fine. All right, and I'm coming back over into the black now. It does take a minute to get all your colors in place, and this is a technique I really like to do with bright colors, but I thought it might be kind of fun to do in the black grayscale realm of things. Keeps moving. This is why I like having a temporary adhesive piece of paper, because then it holds stuff down. But once I get my bird glued in, I can camouflage up some of those other spots. All right, and now let's come back in with the hickory smoke. It's looking good. Brush is losing a few little bristles, but not the end of the world. That's the other nice thing with getting these at the dollar stores. If your bristles do wear out and start falling out, they're really inexpensive to replace. That is looking good. It gives a real smoky vibe to the page, which is quite nice. Now I want to bring this black in this corner over a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Perfect. All right. Now I've got a little bit of Picket Fence Distress Spray Stain. I want to spray this down. All right, so I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes and I will be back. It's just giving it just some nice little white accents. So I will be back in a minute. All right, so I have taken and removed the circle. As I said, you can see that I've kind of had a little accident there, if you will. Not a big deal. I'm going to do some embossing or glazing. I have the Hickory Smoke Distress Glaze from Tim Holtz. I'm not sure if my camera will even read that. The rating's dark, the container is dark. So I'm going to start with some Versamark ink. And I've got a stencil. This is a stencil I picked up from the dollar store. I just thought the roses might be kind of pretty. Excuse me. Randomly spread throughout the background. Right, now let's grab this piece of paper. And I always have a little measuring spoon set in my craft room. And then I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of that over top of the wet Versamark before it dries. I like this because it doesn't really, it's not really gonna give a ton of color. It's just going to glaze once I've got it all melted, and just give some nice shine to the page. And I want to put that back in, and then move on to the next spot. I think I'll focus more on the leaves in this section here. right, and let's see what we've got going now. I know the camera's not picking up the spots that are wet from the embossing ink, but that's fine. You'll see once I have the powder sprinkled on. I think that got everything. So once again, let's put this paper underneath. Go. All right, and one more time up into this corner here. And as you can see, I'm not being really precise per se. I'm being pretty random with where I'm going. I'll put this paper here because I've come right out to the edge. And let's get the next sprinkling on. Hope this encourages you to look at your stencils a little bit different. Everybody always thinks a stencil needs to have the full image on it. It does not. You can change that up. There we go. Make it random, just do part of the image. You can see that. Perfect. All right, and bang that off. And get the lid back on so I don't get a mess. Okay, I'm gonna go and heat this with my heat gun real quick, and I will be right back. All right, so actually I decided I'm gonna heat this up on camera so that you can see the process done. Somebody had mentioned before that they hadn't used glazes or embossing powders of any kind, and they weren't sure how long it takes to heat that up or melt it or what the process is. So I am going to do that here right now. I've got my little heat gun. All right, so that is embossed. So you want to give that a second or two to cool afterwards because it is a plastic, it's hot. The thing that I like about the embossing glazes over an embossing powder is that the glazes are translucent. So that gives, can you see that nice sheen and shine on there? And because it's translucent, where the glaze is on the lighter gray stuff, it's not as dark as the ones that are over in the black. The ones that are over in the black, of course, are going to be darker because that glaze is translucent. So I just see the battery light flashing here on my camera. I'm going to stop here, go charge my battery, and I'll be back when my battery's ready to go again. My battery's all charged, so let's get this page finished. Well, I'm just going to bring it in closer so you can see those flowers. All right, let's get our bird adhered on here. Oh man, I managed to get ink everywhere today. Oh wow. Actually, before we adhere him down, let's take a little bit of gesso. So I'm using Art Alternatives gesso, and I've lost my fan brush. I tell ya, I stopped recording for 5 minutes. Oh, there it is. All right, so I'm just gonna dip my fan brush into my gesso, and I just want to touch up a little bit of gesso here, these little boo-boos that I made. They're not really that big of a deal. I could have left them and probably lived with it, but I'm just gonna cover them up a little bit with some gesso. There we go. I like gesso because it's a little bit chalkier, a little bit more opaque than just your standard white. Perfect. So those are done. All right. And placement of the bird. I want him partially in the circle, partially out. I think I like that. And once again, I went with I printed my bird on sticker paper or label paper. I get it at the office supply store. So like Staples would have it. It's nice because then you don't need any extra adhesive. It just will stick down. After I fussy cut my image out, I always trace around the cut edge with a black Sharpie or a black marker of some kind, just to camouflage that white edge of the paper once it's been cut. I think it gives it a nice finished look and feel. There we go, that's all stuck down nice. Any place that isn't stuck, I'm just checking to make sure I don't have any of the backing left. There, that all looks good. All right, now let's bring in a white gel pen. I want to brighten up the highlights here on his beak, so I'm just going to color that in with my white gel. Put my hand in the wet gesso. And I want to make the beak stand out a little bit here against this spot on the wing. So I'm going to color that in, make that stand out a bit more as well. Going to do the same thing with this part of the spot. Just color that in with my gel pen. This is going to make it a much brighter white. There we go, and I'll do the same thing over here on this side. Go. Yeah, that's looking good. I think I am happy with that. I'm just trying to decide if I want to, I think I'll come in on the feathers here as well and just touch up these highlights. Oh, and once again you can hear my cats in the background. they sleep all day until they hear my voice out here in the studio, and then they decide that they really should be out here with me, but they're not very well behaved, so they are not allowed out here with me. I think I'm also going to take my white gel pen and just put a few little scribbles in the corners here. Like that. All right. And let's take, I've got a black silver glitter pen, so I'm just going to come with that now. Let's put a little bit of a glitter on the beak. Run that around just the outside edge of that circle there. Do the same over here. The bird in the original image actually had little sparkle spots. So I think I'm going to take my gel pen and just touch up some of those little spots that were there originally. I know the camera never ever picks up the glitter, the sparkle from these gel pens quite the way they do in person, but move you in a little bit there so you can see. And maybe I'll do the whole eyelash of the bird, and that way the eyelashes will have some glitter. You can find a nice juicy gel pen, and it's always nice to add glitter with that. I like that. And then let's trying to decide if I want any more. Just come in over the edges here of my book. Just go around that outside edge, and I'm just scribbling in just doodles all the way around. As you can see, I'm not being real precise, not worrying too much about anything, it's just kind of a border, just more texture. And come in along this bottom here. There we go. I am quite happy with that, I do believe. Let's get the quote in here. Till you spread your wings, you have no idea how far you'll fly. Before I do that, I am going to put a little bit of white splatter. I just want a little bit more white content in here. So I'm just put a little bit of gesso on my brush, and I'm going to spray that with some water and water it down a little bit. There we go. You want it kind of an inky consistency. Sorry, I'll just move you out so you can see what I'm doing. So I've just made that an inky consistency. There we go. I just wanted some splatters on there. All right, and I cut the quote out on the sticker paper as well, so let's get that stuck down. Till you spread your wings, you have no idea how far you will fly. Really, really like this quote. I think we all have a tendency to put off doing certain things or trying new things because there's so much in the unknown, and we don't want to put ourselves out there and have it fail or be embarrassed. So I think we tend to sometimes maybe not take the risks we should. So I'm just putting a little bit of charcoal pencil in along there and smooshing it out with my finger. Well, I hope you really enjoyed watching the creation of this page and that you'll give it a try yourself. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought of it. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see me do. Make sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons and the bell icon so you'll be notified the next time I upload another video. Yeah, I am very, very happy with that. I do believe. You know, sometimes it's really hard to know when to be done a page. I'm just using my gel pen here with the glitter to add some streaking on these wings here. Until you spread your wings, you have no idea how far you fly. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. I will include some close-up pictures at the end of the video. Don't forget to check out the Facebook group, Mixed Media Emporium, and don't forget to check out Nina Rubina's channel and Kylie Koo's channel for more inspiration and to follow the July prompts. We will talk to you later. Bye-bye.